Okay. So, good evening, everyone. I would like to greet you all on the behalf of the Bosnia and Herzegovina Futures Foundation. First, I would like to apologize for the inconvenience and for being late because we've had some technical issues with this streaming, and I hope you you didn't lose your patience and that this is going to be a good webinar for you. So, my name is Emina Pasic, and for those who don't know me, and I'm the new coordinator of the future webinar series. I hope that this is going well because I'm not sure of that at this point. So today we have a special guest, a special lady, and her name is just like mine, Emina Pasic, and she is a senior advisor at the Swedish Energy Agency, and she will talk about the energy technologies and the climate change. So, Emina, I would like to welcome you and to greet you and thank you for taking your time to join us and to speak to our students and to give this presentation.
Thank you very much, Emina, for invitation to be here, and honor I'm being advisor, some of you. And because we lose pretty much time, I'm going right directly to the presentation. I think it's much better, and at the end of presentation we probably going to have time for the questions. Yes. I just start presentation about the Un's Agenda 2030 and perspectives on the Swedish energy system. I'm going to give you some short information about Swedish Energy Agency, where I'm working last 10 years, about research and innovation as a policy instrument, and international collaboration and funding instruments at the EU level and even globally. Yes, if we start with the United Nations Agenda 2030, probably maybe some of you already have heard or know much about that, about the 70 goals which is decided for transformation of our world. Actually, in 2015, countries adopted the 2030 agenda as for sustainable development, and its 70 sustainable development goals, and in 2016 in the Paris Agreement on climate changes entered into force, addressing the need to limit the rise of global temperatures. Just shortly about the Swedish energy system and Sweden right now. We have almost fossil-free electricity production, almost fossil-free heat production, low CO2 emissions per capita, energy-intensive industry energy use per value has decreased. And of course, Sweden has low green gas emission per capita. In 2015, green gas emissions in Sweden were around 5.5 tons carbon dioxide per capita, which is around half of the average for the OECD countries, and emissions have decreased by 35% since 1990. And in 1990, the emissions were 8.3 tons carbon dioxide per capita. Sweden is a small economy with a large amount of import and export with the other countries, which implies the Swedish consumers are using goods and services that they are on average much more climate intensive on Swedish production. Swedish export is contributing to reducing emission abroad.
Excuse me, Emina, can you just put on your presentation and share your desktop with us?
You cannot see it.
No, you didn't activate it.
Okay. Sorry for that. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's okay now. So you may continue. Thank you.
Just to continue. On the right side, on this slide, I'm showing you the integrated electricity market in Sweden, and actually in the north, the Swedish government policy for electricity market shall be efficient, competitive, and provide electricity at international competitive price. And since 1990, the electricity market is completely liberalized. This means that electricity consumers can choose the company to provide electricity and also choose between several types of contracts. The government wants to use more active consumers and develop of the market for energy services so that the consumers have more options to influence their consumption. This picture shows the high degree interconnection, more than 20% between the Nordic countries. Electric power is traded on the Nordic Power Exchange spot market called Nord Pool, and in recent years our Baltic neighbor countries have joined, and as of 2014 there is a price coupling between 15 countries, mostly in the north of Europe, but also France joined us. Just short about the energy policy targets for Sweden. As you see, we have really ambitious targets in Sweden, that the 50% more energy efficiency use of energy in 2030 compared with 2005, 70% less emission from transport sector 2030 compared with 2010, 10% renewable electricity to 2040, and no net emission of greenhouse gases to 2045. And in 2016, the government and all parties in Sweden have concluded agreement on Swedish long-term energy policy. The agreement consists of common roadmap for controlled transition to entire renewable electricity system with a target of 100% renewable electricity production by 2040. The government and parties agreed that Sweden must have a robust electricity system with high security of supply and low environmental impact, and offer electricity at a competitive price. This creates a long-term perspective and clarity for actors in the market and helps generate new jobs and investments in Sweden. And of course, these three pillars for the Swedish energy policy is ecological sustainability, competitiveness, security of supply, which is really, this policy issue is really based and driver in the whole society for this transition, which I'm going to present a little bit later. This is my favorite slide. It's showing the energy supply by energy commodity from 1970 to until 2017 in Sweden. And you see how the Sweden phased out the fossil fuels the last 40 years, actually. And if we think that is pretty short period, we really done excellent job and on switch from the fossil dependency to the more renewables in whole energy system. And on the right side, you see this is the data from 2017 years. On the right side, you see the decrease of biomass, little bit coal, still coal in our energy system, little bit natural gas, some nuclear fuels, hydropower, wind power, and in the other fuels, it is the solar power pretty low. And now is the question, how did we get here? Yes, this is actually market-based and general instruments which we, during the last 40 years, implement in Sweden, which help us to get this really excellent mix in the energy system. Energy taxes on the electricity, carbon dioxide taxation, green certificate system for renewable energy, dissemination on information, research and innovation, and many programs and support activities. And of course, a holistic view on the whole system is the key. In additional instruments for this job which we've done the last 40 years, also depends on financial policy measures which we here on this slide implement in Sweden and connect to our sector's activities. And you see that the policy and measurements employed by Sweden in the compliance with our membership in the EU are our targets in the areas of energy and climate. This picture shows the most important policy and measurements in Sweden in the energy area. Emission trade is a common European policy measure for the decrease of carbon dioxide emission. Emission trading is based on capita being for C for the total emission. The system applies to companies in the industrial energy production and aviation sectors. Every year, companies' carbon dioxide emissions shall be offset with the emission allowance. The electricity certification system is means of promoting electricity production for renewable energy resource. For each megawatt hour of renewable energy produced, the producer can receive an electricity certificate from the state. They can sell the electricity certificate on the open market where the price is set between seller and buyer. The electricity certificate thus provides extra income for the renewable electricity production in addition to the normal electricity sales. Buyers are actors with the quota obligations, primary electricity suppliers. Energy tax is tax on the energy consumption and it is levied by kilowatt hour. Carbon dioxide tax is levied on fossil fuels which involve carbon dioxide emissions, and these fuels are taxed by kilo of carbon dioxide emitted. Yes, of course, Sweden have a future challenge. We still have to do much more, of course, in Sweden and also globally. And this is a future challenge for Sweden 2050. We have put a target, zero green gas emission by 2050, not net greenhouse gas emissions. Fossil independent vehicle fleet 2030, energy efficiency until 2030, more secure energy supply, more diversified electricity supply, electricity market for prosumers. Both Sweden and in the other countries, there is an increasing focus on secure energy supply, and there are regional and global challenges such as a great uncertainty on the energy market. Sweden is becoming less dependent on nuclear energy, and we have an increasing access of renewable electricity production, which place new demands on the electricity network and power transmission. And Swedish Energy Agency is endeavoring to facilitate consumers' transition to prosumers, producing and selling electricity from the own solar cells. This means regulations need to be revised. New business models are also emerging, which is a challenge to establish actor on the electricity market. And the global goals to the 2030 Agenda for the Sustainable Development, how we going to implement that in Sweden. And as I already said, Sweden has high ambition for implementing Agenda 2030 and meeting 17 global goals, both internationally and nationally. And in June 2019, was presented the action plan for the years 2018-2020. And action plan actually contains key political measures for these 4 years and highlights the 6 cross-sectoral focus areas based on the proposal from the Agenda 2030 delegation. And these 6 areas which this action plan focus are the social equality and gender equality, sustainable society, social beneficial, circular and bio-based economy, strong business sector with a corporate social responsibility, sustainable and healthy food chain, and knowledge and innovation. And implementation involves step-by-step approach towards modern sustainable welfare, nation at home, and as part of the global system too. This transformation must take place jointly and in partnership. And some briefs which our government representatives announced at the high-level political forum on sustainable development 2018 is related to the goals 6, clean water and sanitation, 7, affordable and clean energy, 11, sustainable city and communities, 12, responsible consumption and production, and 15, life on the land. And Sweden's transformation towards sustainable and resilient society is well underway and is taking place throughout the countries. And some shortly briefs of these briefs on the goal 6 is good governance, which actually this will be possible through the coherent policies, legal frameworks, dedicated financing, strong institution and partnership with involvement all the relevant stakeholders in society. Integrated water resource management, in equitable access for all to water and sanitation service, achieving higher level of sustainable and equitable access to safe drinking water and sanitation, hygiene and major challenges. And here you see the actually impact of SDG 6 to the other SDGs. And as we talk about energy issue and climate change, we see that the SDG 6 is strongly related to the SDG 7 and even 13 and 11. Short briefs about the affordable and clean energy, the SDG 7, and what we identified in Sweden actually is in how to implement this goal in our policy with increased efforts to improve access to affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy for people living in poverty, enhanced use of energy system based on the combination of renewable energy sources, decentralized and small-scale solutions, increased distribution capacity and energy efficiency measures. A key aspect in this regard is to ensure equal access to energy between men and women and to promote women's participation in leadership in the energy sector. The second one focused on increasing the share of renewable energy and improving energy efficiency through enabling policy and in emerging economies to support in the most efficient manner globally energy transition, with the benefit of both security of supply and economical growth. Phase out support for the investments in fossil fuel energy and fossil fuel subsidies as soon as possible, and sustainability increase investment in renewable energy. And we see impact of the SDG 7 on the other SDGs. Actually, it's all of the other SDGs which had impact of this energy, affordable energy goals. Just short briefs even about the SDG 11, Sustainable City and Communities. Inclusive city, what we mean with that, invest in the good governance for inclusive urbanization that is socially, environmentally and economically beneficial and respectful of basic human rights. Green cities, what we mean, strengthen local, regional and national governance for climate change adoption and disaster risk preparedness to increase the resilience of cities and urban areas. Smart cities invest in the smart and sustainable infrastructure and housing to create opportunities for technology development and digitalization. And of course, even in this impact of this SDG is related even to the energy in the both of this issue, urban access to social service and even for a sustainable city planning. Just 12, responsibility, consumption and production. Short briefs is which we going to promote for implementation of these SDGs is based on the toxic-free everyday life, which means that intensity efforts to ensure an environmentally sound management of chemical and all waste through the life cycle. And sustainable lifestyles, just show this promotes sustainable lifestyles, consumption through the innovative incentives such as the tax reduction for repairs and enhanced knowledge of behavior, economical and nudging, providing education and information, including sex-segregated data and statistics, promote sustainable procurement, ensure sustainable and fair supply chains. And also impact of this SDG 12 on the other, we see here impact on the 11 sustainable cities and communities, and even climate actions 13. Life on the land, protect, restore ecosystems and promote sustainable use of ecosystem service, inclusive governance of ecosystem on the land, strengthen our rights, empower women, young people and indigenous people and local communities, and the role of the civil society. Sustainable supply chain, promote sustainable land and water use through the forest management, including agroforestry, agriculture and fishers, and multifunctional landscapes to increase resilience of society. And also see here impact of the SD 15 to the SDG 7, 13, and also in the sustainable production in the 7. And this year on high-level political forum on sustainable development, this is the 5 briefs what Sweden presented, and I maybe just say some words about the goal 13, which is climate action and related to climate changes issue. And this is the briefs which we based our activities related to the SDG 13, far-reaching, rapid and unprecedented transformation of the aspects of society to tackle climate changes, cost-effective carbon-piercing measurements, such as the carbon taxes, can also mobilize domestic resource. Mitigation and adoption requires strong institution as well as a partnership for investment and technology transfer within and between societies. Sweden stands ready to offer support in relation to policy, financing, and technology to accelerate climate action globally. Taking ambitious global action on climate changes, governments have a role in setting the right policy and regulatory frameworks to accelerate climate action. In addition, effective policy response to combat climate changes can address drivers of conflict and mitigate climate-related security risk. Enable climate changes initiative organized by young people and children. Strengthening resilience to climate impacts and extreme weather events. Climate changes will increase the risk for conflict, poverty, and inequality, adaptation support, and disasters. Climate change initiative organized by young people and children should be enabled. Preparedness must therefore include focus on the most vulnerable. And impact of, as we see, the SDG 13 doing impact on the all other SDGs, including the SDG 7 partnership. And the important step which Sweden done, and maybe most important step in the transition of the policies to push for the SDG goals and Agenda 2030 is a climate policy framework, and the Parliament has adopted climate policy framework for Sweden on the 22nd of June 2017, which contains the new climate targets, climate law, and climate policy council. The framework provides order and clarification in climate policy and be based on the agreement with the Parliament and Environmental Assessment Committee. The climate policy framework is the most important climate model in Swedish history, and also I think the first global climate policy framework globally. And this new climate law came in force on the 1st of January 2018. And this slide showing the actually the whole SDGs, how it's actually connected and related to each others, and the goal 17 partnership is on the top and actually connecting through going through all the other SDGs, which is really important message to whole society and all governments and stakeholders and all actually people who can be involved in this implementation of agenda to give the message that the partnerships collaboration is really key elements. And this is the Swedish National Statement for High-Level Political Forum 2019, and there is the grow awareness of urgent need to act now. Greta Thunberg, an impressive young Swedish climate activist, remind me of this event every Friday as I pass her school strike for climate action outside of our parliament. The message from our young is very clear, and we need to listen and we need to act. To combat climate change, we need to unprecedented transformation of the whole society. Swedish ambition is clear. We want to be first fossil-free welfare state in the world. Climate change has devastating effects. They are particularly severe in fragile contexts. Climate-related security risks are major to us all, but the poorest are hit in the hardest, and women are particularly affected. I believe that the climate summit in September will be vital to raising our climate ambition, putting us on the 1.5 degree pathway. And really, the excellent summary of our ambition at the political and also governmental level. This is the Greta Thunberg, impressive young Swedish climate activist, which started this action with the school strike, and she recruited young people and to take action on the climate issue, and to show the decision makers that they need to act now. And the sustainable development must be part of the core of operation, not only one project or few projects. And of course, we are in hurry. 3.5 years of time has passed, and just 10 years to 2030 is the also key message of action plan, Swedish action plan for Agenda 2030. And on this slide, we're showing how actually the government, through the national budget and together with the society and private and public sector, actually together doing activities which are actually in this cycle of Agenda 2030. Just short few words about Swedish Energy Agency, where I'm working last 10 years, and in Sweden we have organized the governmental organization that on that way that we have agencies, different agencies and ministries, and agencies it's like independent but still have a really deep relation and close relation to the ministries, and of course is like part of some ministries. Swedish Energy Agency is National Authority for Energy Policy Issues and also National Funding Agency, subordinate to the Ministry of Infrastructure, regulated by government through the instruction and annual appropriation directives. We are around 430 employees and located in Eskilstuna. It's like a small city near the Stockholm, 1 hour by local train from Stockholm, actually. And on the right slide, you see this is the building of Swedish Energy Agency. It's on Swedish language, Energimyndigheten, and this is the old fabric refurbishment, which now it's Swedish Energy Agency. And we also introduced the activity-based working place, which means that you are working where you are sitting actually. And our mission is leading the energy transition into modern and sustainable fossil-free welfare society. And we have different roles: steering, supporting, and expert agency. We enforce governmental and parliament decisions, supporting disseminate information within the energy and climate area, and grants financial support to research and innovation, and also provide expert information to public and government and the research domain with data, statistic analysis, scenarios, and forecasts. And a bit back on the research innovation and how to make difference. The Swedish Energy Agency has an annual budget of approximately 160 million euro, equal amount of industrial co-funding. Totally it's budget 320 million euro. And we have initiated ongoing 19 programs and 1,200 projects running. We organize scientific advisory board and also participating, doing systematic evaluation, long-term governing, thematical strategies, close the gaps between basic research to demonstration, implementation, and commercialization, increased cooperation, co-creation with the others. Later on, I'll be back a little bit more deeper on this collaboration, how we doing actually with the project and programs with it. And this is Energy Research and Innovation Grand Challenge, 100% renewable energy system, resource efficient society, innovation and for job and climate, flexible and robust energy system, and interaction between between the energy system. And how we see on the energy system. Actually, historically, we started from the production, transmission, distribution, and to the end users. But now with this transition and needs for the transition of energy system to the clean energy system, we actually started thinking from the other side, from the user side, to distribution, transmission, and to the production. And this is really important way of thinking and way of thinking and how dealing with the energy system. And still today we have the mostly centralized energy system, mostly large-scale energy generation, one-way direction flow in energy information, as I showed at the previous slide, limited energy storage, system security resource mostly at the generation side, few larger players, and limited intermittent renewable energy system. And what we need, how to connect how to do these changes, actually, what we need. We need a mix of centralized and decentralized energy system, large-scale and small-scale energy generation, multi-directional flow of energy information, which I already showed at the previous slide, both centralized and distributed energy storage, both large and small players, including customers, system security resource at both the generation and custom side, large share of intermittent renewable energy system. And this is the example how we can do this actually transition. And we started with different strategy to develop strategy for each part of energy system. And this is example for the strategy of for heating and cooling related to the objectives 2030 and Vision 2050. And our vision is sustainable energy system. And this is the strategy of Swedish Energy Agency. And the challenge which we identified for the energy resources is for the heating and cooling sector, energy for heating and cooling consisting, which we, in the vision of the 2050, energy for heating and cooling consisting of recycled and renewable energy. Excess heat from different sectors is used in benefit society. In the challenge, interaction in the energy system, interaction between heat and cool and the other energy carriers contribute to resource and cost-efficient energy system. In the challenge, resource effective use, heat and cool are used in the resource-efficient manner. User benefit from competitive price in the local markets. And challenge, innovation for the job and the climate, the business community, public actors, research actors, and board leading in the heating and cooling innovations. Product, system solutions, and service are competitive in the global market. And our research funding, which is 160 million annually, is actually is divided to this thematically to the 9 different thematic. You see that the high funding part is supporting the transport sector, and next is industry, power system, buildings, business development, and from 2070 we have the cross-sector issues, more money for the cross-sector issues, bioenergy, energy system studies, and sustainable society. I'm going to give some example for energy system studies and this cross-cutting issue, how we're doing through the national program. And of course, the important, this actually effect chain, how we develop this strategy for each thematical issue. We start with activities which lead to some results, and from results we leading to the output, and from this output we leading to the effects in the society. And our vision is sustainable energy system, and we on this part we identified the goals for each part which we want, and follow up these goals. And I think this way of thinking is really, really important, how to develop the strategy and to close the whole chain in from the governmental public side to the public and society, whole society whole society, and in the vision, of course, of the sustainable energy system. As I said, some examples how we doing in cross-cutting issue. For example, in the thematical and cross-cutting issue, this is the 17 different programs, strategic challenge-driven programs, strain co-creation, and this is the collaboration between the three Swedish agencies, Vinnova, Swedish Innovation Agency, Energimyndigheten, Swedish Energy Agency, and Swedish Research Council. And this 70 program, it's an ongoing program, and with the vision and with the goals related to the Agenda 2030 and the vision of our national goals 2050. And if we go back to the national goals 2050, no net emission greenhouse gases in energy system. And I going to present some cross-cutting. All this program is actually is organized as with a transdisciplinary and trans-sectoral focus, but this program, it's as I said, the special and most interesting on that way that is a focus on the quadruple helix model, which means that the citizen impact and citizen involvement is in focus for this program. And just few the unique features for this program is that the more than smart and sustainable cities, the viable cities, it's something more than that. It's mission-driven, climate-neutral cities, which means that climate-neutral cities by 2030 is a goal for the program. Co-creation, it's a way to organize the different activities in the program together with the cities, businesses, researchers, organizations, and civil society. And you see, we have the Chinese translation because it's really interesting. It's a huge interest from the Chinese colleagues for this program and for this approach to organize the national activities. And this is the members of viable cities, which you see that is both public sector representatives, university and research institutes, civil society, companies. It's like and hosting organization is KTH, is a Swedish university, and it's like a platform for the PPP collaboration, but also with in the frame of citizen engagement. What we are doing in this program, organizing the calls, until now, we organized 4 calls, and also parallel with the calls, we have 4 ongoing strategic projects, which are related to the internationalization, entrepreneurship, liquid roadmap, knowledge sharing, and these strategic projects actually is organized in the co-creation in the co-creation frame. of working. And how we funding this Viable Cities program, how we organize is some part of. One way is actually organize of infrastructure of the program, and the most important part, of course, is funding. How we organize the funding for this program on the national level. Of course, it's a challenge also because it's collaboration between the 3 national funding agencies. And it's based on the PPP collaboration model. And this is the national budget 50% and Viable Cities 50%, which means that the national collaborative agency funding from the national budget 50%, and the actors from the platform, Viable Cities platform, co-funding the activities and projects by 50%. And you see, this year the Swedish Energy Agency have main funding for the program. We have 2 calls approximately per year, and also strategic project, co-creation and matchmaking workshops, joint projects with the other strategic innovation programs of these 17, European collaboration in the frame of Horizon 2020 and new frame program, Horizon Europe, which I'm going back a little bit later on that, and of course international cooperation with China and US, and as I already said, the co-funding model, Swedish Energy Agency together with the Viable Cities stakeholders mainly, and co-creation platform, innovation platform gathering cities, industry, consult, citizen association, universities. And this is some project from the example for the project from this program, integration of energy and transport system, sustainable urban lifestyle, city as a platform. And of course you can find at the website more deeper information about this project, and also project leader, and it's like free to contact them and get more information if you are interested for that. Sharing City Sweden is actually partly the program in the frame of the Viable Cities, and it's related to the innovation platforms, 6 innovation platforms in Sweden. And of course this program is really get the high response from the European Commission and Horizon Europe, and serving as a role model for the Horizon Europe. The next frame program, European frame program. The goal for the program, Viable Cities, is also to be a global knowledge center, and as a part of network of leading institutions seeking partner in Europe, US and China. And if you want to get, as I said, more information about this, is the website about the Viable Cities program, and also to find each this project on the website. The second example which I want to explain, it's Graduate School in Energy System, which Swedish Energy Agency is supporting in the many years, and it's part of a Swedish Energy Agency strategic focus in the area of energy studies. And vision for this school is to contribute to the transformation of the energy system to conduct it in the ecologically, economically, and socially sustainable direction with a good knowledge founded in the interdisciplinary socio-technical energy research. Main purpose is to increase knowledge and understanding of how energy system depends on the interaction between technology and society, regulatory framework, policy development, and operators' interest and behavior. And the overall object is for the graduate school in energy systems to strengthen the skill and knowledge within the sustainable energy system, variously part in the industry, government, NGOs, and academia. Some of the projects example of the project is the transition of the energy system, the role of consumers in the renewable power system, energy management in shipping and manufacturing sector, carbon neutral industry, strategic governance and transition capacity in public transport, new network of power. And this is the collaboration university and research institute, RISE, VTT, Gothenburg University, KTH, Chalmers, and it's I think eight different institutions and high schools which collaborated, and university in this program. And the graduate school consisting of interdisciplinary research project carried out in cooperation between the several universities, as I said, and supporting structure to hold together the program and strengthening of interdisciplinary cooperation, for example, through the joint doctoral courses and seminars. And as you see, it's a huge focus on transdisciplinary and transsectoral collaboration. Also, the more information you can find on the Swedish Energy Agency website, but even of each university website, and of course, Emina Pasic University, which is coordinating this. Now we are switching to the European level, and I just will want to explain some activities which the Swedish Energy Agency is involved at the European level, and organizing some national activities related to the European actions. And SETPlan is a strategic energy technology plan, which is decided by European Commission, and of course together with the member states and associated states. And this is the 10 different thematical issue, which is organized actually in the 10 different thematical working groups, and which in the 2018 these different thematical groups worked on the implementing to develop the implementing plan for each thematical issues. And in the June 2019, this year, these strategic implementing plans are decided by a steering committee of SETPlan, and now is the next phase of implementing of this implementation plan. And Sweden is involved in all these 10 implementing groups and is active in all in each of the groups. Of course, what is the important for the implementation phase of SETPlan is actually financial model and how to organize the national and activities and national instruments for and related and connect to the European funding model, and coordination management of partnership program based on the in-kind contribution or member fee would primarily be contributed by research funding organization and would be co-funded via European Commission's support. Budget will be foreseen by specific topics, call, and the other joint activities depending on the participation of research funding organization and the others. And areas of SETPlan actions for implementation plans, research, innovation, demonstration, and market introduction, ranging all TRLs levels, and this means that also this SETPlan implementing plans is in the frame is related to the funding and going to be funded by Horizon, different activities organized in the frame of Horizon Europe and Horizon 2020 for the 2020 and Horizon Europe from 2021. The second example of the joint European collaboration is JPI Urban Europe. JPI, Joint Programming Initiative, is a member state and initiative which the frame for the member states and governmental agencies and ministries to organize collaboration and the platform and program to collaborate for example on the urban issue. But JPI as a model is also related to the different issues, climate, transport, buildings, and so on. In this JPI Urban Europe, it's 20 European countries in collaboration and contributing with national budget. Some calls is organized at the and funding by national budget, but some calls are organized in the frame of Horizon 2020 calls and getting the support by European Commission as a top-up in the model for the Aranet program. Goal for this collaboration is strength, research and innovation in the field of urban development, and core members is Austria, Belgium, Cyprus, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Norway, Slovenia, Sweden and UK. And from Sweden are 3 funding agencies involved, Vinnova, the Swedish Innovation Agency, Swedish Energy Agency, and Swedish Research Council. And we have on the right side the observers and occasional co-founders of joint calls: Latvia, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Spain, Switzerland, and Turkey. And of course, the base for the JPI Urban Europe action is related to the Agenda 20 goals of SDGs of Agenda 2030, European Urban Agenda, and SWEA Strategic Research Innovation Agenda of the JPI Urban Europe, and focused on coordinating research innovation and in urban challenges. The goal is to create attractive, sustainable, and economically viable urban areas where European citizen communities and their surroundings can thrive. JPI Urban Europe was initiated by Austria and Netherlands in 2012 to form collaborative research strategy and network to identify and address innovation challenges to European cities. Sweden joined in 2012. And this is the implementing joint course in this partnership, and this which call you see on the left side, which call it was organized in the JPI Urban Europe, and which other platforms and cooperation. The last one is maybe special interest, because this is the cooperation between JPI Urban Europe member and NSFC, National Scientific Funding of China, Funding Agency of China, and we also collaborate with Belmont Forum, which is also in the 2016 Aranet co-found Sustainable Urbanization Global Initiative, which was organized in the frame of Aranet co-found model. Some words also on collaboration globally, on global arena, is International Energy Agency, IEA, Bilateral Collaboration, which Swedish Energy Agency is national responsible agency for this collaboration, and IEA, the OECD countries cooperation body for energy issues, and has 30 member countries, and also the European Commission participates in IEA work. The collaboration has been graduated covered research and development, statistics, policy issues, climate, renewable energy, and energy efficiency. The most activities is organized in a technology collaborative programs, TCPs, and it's totally 40 TCPs in IEA cooperation, and Sweden participated in 22 of these 40. And this technology collaborative program is related to different issues. The IEA's impact of global energy use on the environment and climate has become increasingly apparent. The trend also shows the future growth in energy utilization and increase in greenhouse gas emission come from the countries outside their old membership cycle. And in recent years, the IEA has also intensified the work with non-member countries as China, India, Russia, Mexico, South Africa, Indonesia, and Brazil, as these countries are strategically important partners in energy issue. And this is the slide of organization infrastructure in IEA, and the IEA secretary is located in Paris with different committees, and more information you can find on the IEA website. Just show this different thematical issue which is related to the TCP, different technology collaboration programs. And the global coalition, which we also from Swedish Energy Agency are active and give priority, is mission innovation, which is a network come at after the Paris Agreement as one of the action points from the Paris Agreement to accelerate the clean energy revolution. And also this mission innovation network is organized thematically in 8 different thematic issues, and this is on the right side. You see the countries who are member of mission innovation, 24 countries and European Commission, and the goals for the mission innovation is 80% of public investment in the clean energy research and development, 70% of CO2 emissions from electricity, 70% of global GDP, 67% of total greenhouse gases emission, and 60% of world population. And actually, it's commitment between national governments and national agency to double the national budgets for these goals, and relate to the these 8 thematical issues in mission innovations. And of course, this is the framework of how to also to collaborate globally on global arena, actually, and also to push for the goals of Agenda 2030, and of course of the goals of Paris Agreement. From these 8 different thematic, I just chose the affordable heating and cooling challenge 7, and this is the priorities for IC Innovation Challenge 7, and also this is the working group which done together with the expert from the countries on member IC7, done some workshops and strategical work, and to get these priorities and to identify these priorities and on this topic. And also it's like ongoing work, because we all the time we getting the new priority areas and try to revise the existing priorities. And In August, we also organized the workshop in Montreal together with the IEA TCP heat pump technologies. Actually, I want to explain also financial model for this network and for this platform, because it's like after the political decision and the national government commitment, actually it's the next step is how to organize the funding infrastructure in each country and at the national level, and find the joint model to collaborate for each this network which I mentioned. And of course is the same for the mission innovation, and we just try to in the first meetings this year, we put effort to actually to focus on the funding, to find out the funding model for this collaboration. And also to, in the same time, parallel to identify the potential network which we can have a joint project. And as you see, Mission Innovation Challenge 7, affordable heating and cooling in the buildings, and together with IEA TCPs, few IEA TCPs, heat pump technologies, and also ASS energy conservation through the energy storage. Two TCPs identified the joint project, Comfort Climate Box, and of course the national budget alignment with the national programs, which means that for this joint project we need to allocate national budget, each country which participating in this project, both from the Mission Innovation Challenge 7 network and also from the TCPs, and on that way make a joint commitment for the budget for the projects. Otherwise, it's a really long time for the managing and all these project activities from the starting idea to the close the project results. And the second possibility is also to collaboration with the European Commission, because European Commission is a member of the Challenge 7, and through the AeroNet framework, AeroNet co-found framework, which is actually model program model in frame of the Horizon 2020 calls, and some calls in Horizon 2020 is open for the MI countries, which means that MI countries need to have the allocate national budget for participation, and European countries can get the funding by Horizon 2020, and of course some national budget. And also it's important that national program from each member states is open for the mission innovation, for the participation from the countries or participants from members in the Mission Innovation Challenge 7. On that way, it's much easy to find the joint activities for the university, companies, different associations, and it's much easy also for the national funding agency to organize the funding infrastructure for this kind of program. And for all these models and way of funding, it's really important to have a contact with national delegates in IEA TCPs, Mission Innovation, Challenge 7, for example, but the other challenge also. ERANET co-found coordinator, different coordinator, and also member states and associate states, European states, funding agencies and ministries, because through the national delegates in all this network and groups, you get the information, what is the rules and priorities for each country and each agency. And on that way, planning your project and planning participation with other university or companies or partners from other countries. Some takeaways from this presentation, actually what I'm thinking about, what is the most important keywords for this issue actually, and how we can bring the actually and recruit all actors in a society to push for the SDGs of Agenda 2030. First one is collaboration, most important, as you see in all slides and all activities and all networks. Collaboration is the keywords to start discussion and collaboration at different levels. Partnership for investments, different partnerships, PPP partnership, private-public partnership, but also public partnership, also just public-public, private-private partnership. Interdisciplinary research, we also see that the really huge impact on technology development is from society side, social scientists and economical, and we see also that this development, sustainable development goals of Agenda 30 is related and focused mostly on the interdisciplinary research. Technology transfer is also really important, especially from the countries as Sweden, which is really have a high level of green technologies, energy efficient renewables technologies. Transfer to the countries as Bosnia and Herzegovina and the other countries in Europe, which really need to take this transition in all society and all countries, and as a start with actions. Transsectoral research also important to catch the problems and find out the problems from the society, what between different sectors and related to the technology development. Effective policy. Policy framework is really important, that the whole, as you understand and saw whole presentation, from the how we doing in Sweden, from national, from government level to the ministries, to the agencies, governmental agencies, and collaborate with the whole society, companies, citizens association, how we organize and how we steering actually this transformation of energy system to the sustainable energy system and sustainable efficient energy system. Young professions, it's key activities, key actors in a society for this transition, co-creation, way of doing, organizing activities, innovation procedures, innovation way to thinking, most important, transformative process in whole society, innovative regulatory framework, also important, and the last on behavior changes, as really we need to start from ourselves and to think, to switch to the new way of thinking for all actions what we're planning. I think this is my last slide, and thank you for listening this presentation, and here are my contacts, and this is the really nice slide of the first sustainable smart sustainable district in Sweden, Hammarby shall start, which is which I mentioned in a few of this program, and you can also find more information on Swedish Swedish Energy Agency website, but also the Bible Cities website. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emina. So I would like, can you just turn off your desktop now so we can see you? Okay, so this has been a lovely presentation, and I think that our listeners enjoyed this webinar. So we have just one question from Faris Peshna, who comes from Mostar. So he would like to know, what does global warming have to do with rising sea levels?
Sorry, Emina, can you repeat? I didn't heard.
What does global warming have to do with rising sea levels?
I haven't heard it.
What does global warming have to do with rising sea levels?
Yes, it's really a good question, and I think that all this presentation, and I try to what I talk about, how all these different activities actually, how we can get the lower impact on the climate changes, and to explain, to get the answer actually for this on this question is much more complex than just to send in one sentence, because the many factors to which we see this global warming, which is completely change the climate and doing impact on the changes in the whole in each society and the world. And this is really when we follow up from the 1970, for example, in Sweden, which I already explained, the energy system and transition of energy system and facing of fossil fuels and so on, different measurements which we done. Actually, we now the last 5 years we're seeing the changes on the climate changes in Sweden. and in the whole other part of the world, it's like the much more transparent how these elements impact on the climate, global warming and climate change.
Okay, thank you, Emina.
But if he need more information, deeper information, he can send me email, and I try to get the broader or more information about this issue.
Okay, thank you. And if our listeners have any further questions, they can contact you and connect with you on LinkedIn. So
Yes.
I would like to thank you all for coming here and listening to us, and I wish you all a pleasant evening. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.